Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'm going to begin my coverage of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, the original edition, with issue number 1. Folks who've watched episodes of my show before will likely have seen that I have covered the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition all the way from issue 1 through 20. Well, prior to that, in 1982, Marvel published this. This was the original. This was the series that I was buying off the stands as a 12-year-old, and it blew me away. And many of the stats and numbers in this book and its following issues are burned into my brain like nothing else. I struggle to remember epic poetry from Tennyson, but yet I can remember the strength in tons of the Executioner detailed in this series. It's funny. I love it. And we have a great Ed Hannigan cover here. Totally awesome. Of course, this is the beginning of the whole wraparound cover thing that was continued in the deluxe edition. Of course, DC adopted it, I think, and did a slightly better job with their Who's Who covers where the characters are interacting. Here you have some limited interaction, but it's more like the characters are all sort of marching towards some unseen goal, which is cool. And of course, Hannigan, I believe, does all the covers 1 through 12. And then 13 and 14 are the Books of the Dead, and 15 is the book that covers all the gear and gizmos and gadgets. So, origins of the official handbook. Now, I do have the omnibus of this, and I've shown it a couple times on the show before in my coverage of other things. It's the only omnibus I own simply because it's manageable, it's slim, and it does have a lot of cool material that speak to the origins of this title and kind of the changes they went through when they were commissioning artwork, and we'll get into that. But before we do, I really want to quickly explore what I think is the genesis, this 1981 king-size Amazing Spider-Man annual, king-size annual, the 15th annual for Amazing Spider-Man. And I'm not going to linger on the fantastic Frank Miller story. It's totally awesome. But I think the face that launched 1,000 ships for Mark Gruenwald is this: just how strong is Spider-Man? And this is really where, and they did this in the past too. I couldn't find the Spider-Man annual where Ditko does kind of a how strong is Spider-Man sequence, which is really cool. I might have it somewhere, but I couldn't locate it. But here it is again with awesome finished art by Bob Layton. But these are Mark Gruenwald. Mark Gruenwald writes it and he lays it out, which is awesome. And Layton finishes it in his inimitable style. And so Spider-Man here breaks the Marvel Universe characters' power level, their strength level, into the super heavyweights. And you can see these 5 here. And it's pretty great. And it's crazy how Iron Man winds up here when in the official handbook that we're going to get into, I think he's in issue 4 or 5. He's like, his strength is like 11 tons, which is crazy. And he has no business being in this particular picture, but that's another discussion. And then the heavyweights, we have Thing, Submariner, Doc Samson. Oh, look how great Sasquatch looks. I should say he should be a little bigger in this. Grunwald got the scale a little wrong. Love seeing Thundra here. Black Bolt, of course, has nothing to say. The super medium weights, pretty great. Colossus is here. Again, I have a lot of quibbles with who gets put in what strength category, but you can see like this is kind of the genesis of the categorization that's occurring, the measurement that's occurring. It's pretty cool. And I just love this. This will show up on Facebook as often as any other scans from comic pages because it's just so emblematic of the Marvel style. And it's so cool and colorful to see these characters arrayed next to each other. And I think that this is one of the things that spurred Mr. Gruenwald to move forward with this, his I would say besides the Squadron Supreme and his incredible run on Captain America, probably the third greatest thing he's ever done in comics he had ever done. Totally awesome. And so this is number one. So let's get into it. Glad you could be here. And it's going to be a fun 15 episode ride as we go through these. So remember, if you want to see my coverage of the more refined version, just look for my official Handbook of the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition coverage, and you'll be able to see the difference. But there is a certain quaintness, a certain coolness from this first effort that I really love. So here we have The Abomination, drawn by Ron Wilson, really cool, and Emil Blonsky. And notice too, they didn't have a separate category for strength level, so you had to kind of pick through the entry. And his is short, and he's listed as pressing 100 tons. And then we have the Absorbing Man, and of course for the Absorbing Man, they don't really list specific strength level for him, but of course he can be what becomes known as a Class 100 character, and that's also drawn by Ron Wilson. A lot of great artwork here from Ron Wilson early on. We have El Aguila, Alejandro Montoya. First appearance, Power Man and Iron Fist 58. And he is drawn by Dave Cockrum, and I love it. Some of these pieces of artwork would I think, survive into the next volume, but they did get a lot of different artists to do new pieces. AIM, love them. One of the many super secret organizations Marvel had. Great artwork by Luke McDonnell. Ajax, another great piece from Ron Wilson here, really cool. And here too, there are some major differences in entries. Like the Eternals get a huge power boost in terms of their strength levels in the subsequent volumes. So here they have them. He is able to able to press approximately 1,600 pounds. Well. I think they boost his strength to 40 tons in the Deluxe Edition. So they really do get a huge strength boost. Next up is Alpha Flight, a little team entry on Alpha Flight. And of course, they did a lot of half entries in this first volume of the official handbook. And they did away with that, except for the teams in the deluxe version. The half entry here on the Alpha Primitives. Very cool. Let's see, I think that might be John Byrne artwork, but let me check here. Of course, the Alpha Flight is John Byrne. Alpha Predator is Ron Wilson. Ron Wilson is doing some heavy lifting in this issue. American Eagle. Now, my first issue off the rack of this series was issue 8. And then I promptly, that week, I mowed lawns all week and ran down to Ides Comics on the weekend on Saturday when they were still on 11 Federal Street in the north side of Pittsburgh. I could take a bus down there and walk across the 6th Street Bridge and go right to Ides. And I grabbed either from their back issue bins or from what we we affectionately called the poop pile, but we didn't use the word poop. I would grab the beat up issues from there. And so I quickly got them all. So I had seen American Eagle when he debuted in Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 6. And I just, this character is just so visually stunning. I loved him. And I thought, man, he's in the official handbook. This guy's going to start showing up anywhere. And anytime I would build teams, because I would use, like in my trigonometry notebook or whatever as a kid, or any of my, usually they were in math notebooks, these notes. I wonder why. I would build these teams of Marvel characters that did, like, I would create a team of my own with Marvel characters. And American Eagle was usually on those teams because I just loved the character so much. He was so cool. Next up, Anaconda, Blanche Shinsky from Pittsburgh, PA. We loved her. Marvel 2-in-1 number 64 is her first appearance. I should add that American Eagle could lift press 15 tons. I don't even need to reference it, but let's see here. Yeah, he's able to lift 15 tons. Sufficient power to uproot a tree. And how strong is Blanche? She's also superhumanly strong. It is tougher to kind of pick out the the strength levels of characters. I don't think, maybe it doesn't list her strength level in this particular, it just lists her ability to grapple superhumanly strong foes. Angar the Screamer, David Allen Angar, first appearance, Daredevil 100. He was the hippie with the sonic powers, the hippie supervillain with sonic powers. Angel, I do love that blue costume. Really great piece here. Let me see who does this Angel piece. Brian Postman. And Angar the Screamer was also done by Brian Postman. I really love Brian Postman. He just passed away last year. Great Spider-Woman artist, a really sweet guy online. I interacted with him a few times. Just a wonderful person, and he is missed. And yeah, his work at the end of the Spider-Woman series was excellent. Well, a sweet dude and a great artist for Marvel. Next up is Annihilus, and his first appearance was Fantastic Four Annual number 8. Let's see if they pegged his strength at 50 tons. Yeah, he can lift press 50 tons here, and I don't think that changes in the deluxe edition. He gets a huge power increase in the early 2000s during the Annihilation Wave storyline. Great. Okay, we have the Scott Lang Ant-Man character, first appearance Marvel Premiere 47. That's as Ant-Man. Of course, I think his true first appearance as Scott Lang was Avengers 181. And who draws? That's a nice Ant-Man. Brian Postman again. Good job, Brian. And Luke McDonald did Annihilus. Really cool. Here we have Mark Grunwald doing the artwork for the Aquarian. Real name Wundar. And of course, he was in that Project Pegasus saga series. Another super-powered hippie-looking dude. Although, as opposed to Angar, Aquarian was a good guy. The Arabian Night, Abdul Kamar. First appearance, Incredible Hulk 257. That's a nice piece of solid Marvel House-style art. Who did that? Mark Grunwald again. Man, we're seeing the same names doing some heavy lifting in this. Bob Budiansky does a nice arcade here. And then this is definitely a Paul Smith Ares. Arcade's first appearance was Marvel Team Up 66. And that was when Claremont and Byrne were doing it, and that was great. That was a great run they had. And Ares' first appearance was Thor 129. Look at this gorgeous Paul Smith artwork. And I think they take this piece for the deluxe edition and just enlarge it because Ares gets a full page right up. And he can lift press 70 tons. He's like the third strongest Olympian. Next up, we have Ariel, Kitty Pryde. Great Paul Smith artwork there. I'm not sure. This might be James Sherman here from one of the comics. That was the big change, too, with the deluxe edition. More pages, better paper, and they did a lot of character action shots. Next up, we've got Archon, one of my favorite characters, like villain types, but he's generally a good guy, although he just has poor communication skills. First appearance, Avengers 75, and who draws that one? That's a nice one. Bob Budiansky again. Arnim Zola by Jack Kirby, that's really great. I wonder if Kirby did this for them in '82, or if they just extracted this from a Captain America story. It's hard to say. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. Real name is Arnim Zola. First appearance, Captain America 208. So he was a Kirby creation. I think of him as a much older character, but when Kirby came back to Marvel and they gave him Captain America, he did some of the strangest stories, and Zola, I guess, showed up in them. Great double-page map of Asgard. I don't know who does that. Let's see. Peter Gillis, Tom Morzachowski. And then we have the Asgardians by Ron Wilson. And we have a great map of Atlantis. Very cool. Now, they would refine their art in terms of these maps and diagrams as the series went along, and especially, of course, in the second version. Yeah, so let's see. Atlantis was Peter Gillis and Rick Parker. The Atlanteans are by Patty. I don't know if that's Patty Cockrum or who that is. We have, of course, a map of Attilan, which is great, the Inhumans home. And I think at this point, This is before it had been moved to the blue area. No, they listed here. There it became known as the Great Refuge. The city of Attilan has since been moved to the blue area of Earth's moon near the outpost of Watu the Watcher. And one of my longer episodes, I do a complete read through of Avengers Annual 12 with incredible art by Jackson Geis, who again just passed away. My gosh, these artists are, it's so sad. But yeah, that annual has a great story of the Avengers going to the blue area of the moon to assure the government of the United States and the world that the Inhumans pose no threat. Great story. Next up is Atuma by Walt Simonson. Great artwork here by Walt Simonson. Really nice. First appearance, Fantastic Four 33. And yeah, it says Atuma can lift, oh yeah, this is definitely a typo. Whereas most Atlanteans are strong enough to lift 4 tons in air, Atuma can lift 40,000 tons. That should be 40 tons, folks. His strength is, and I believe they correct that in the write-ups. This is definitely a John Byrne Aurora. And her first appearance is X-Men 120, Jean-Marie Babier. Great Avengers entry here, which is cool. We get 2 pages of the team. These are John Byrne heads, I'm sure. Let me just make sure. Yeah, John Byrne, Terry Austin, really cool. Love it. I love that Hellcat head. These are so great. I love the floating heads. They're so awesome. And then we get a nice detailed layout of Avengers Mansion. Really cool. Again, the type is really small. I mean, this is like 6-point font. So for my young eyes, I had no problem. My older eyes, even with cheaters on, I still struggle a bit. But I will read one small snippet here. The entire mansion is powered by a General Electric 4th generation SNAP 10,000 nuclear AP applications thermoelectric generator, which is backed up by a conventional fuel power generator. So yeah, I wonder if the city of New York knows that there's a active nuclear generator at Avengers Mansion powering the thing. Did Nefaria know that when he struck Avengers Mansion in the classic Avengers storyline from 164 to 166? Byrne and Pablo Marco's artwork, fantastic. Next up, we have a nice cutaway of an Avengers Quinjet, again with a super tiny font. And I meant to point that out because in the deluxe edition, they increased the font size of all this stuff, so it's easier to read. So again, this is primitive, early days for this particular title, but man, the energy is here, and I'm here for it. Finally, every issue would end with coverage of the alien races, and those are drawn by, again, Patty. I'm not sure who that is. If you know, and let me know, or I'll do some research for the next issue and let you know. And then there's an editorial here. So yeah, so the Marvel Universe began 21 years ago with the publication of Fantastic Four #1 in November 1961. The Fantastic Four weren't at all like the cardboard cutout heroes who populated other companies' comics. A little shot at DC there. So let's cut to the end here. So this is it. The last word on the Marvels of the Universe, from Abomination to Zax, and maybe beyond. Hope you enjoy it. So very cool. And they have a little appendix already here, detailing characters that weren't included here. Just kind of giving a little nod to them, which is cool. A favorite of mine, Arsenal, a robot created by Howard Stark and stored in a sub-basement beneath Avengers Mansion. First appearance, Avengers Annual 9. So that's all they say about him. They don't give his powers, nothing. So that's it. That's the first issue, the first volume of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, issue #1, volume 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.